Hello guys, welcome back to BoreDraw, and today we've got a nice little video for you.
We're doing transfer window ranking. The window slammed shut a couple of nights ago now.
Yep.
We are in the season now. I think this is where the season starts.
The season has started,
Yeah.
and it won't stop until now because it's international break. But the transfer window has slammed shut. And we are here today to give our opinions and rank every single Premier League team's transfer window. And getting right into it, we're going to start with the one we probably have the most to talk about because this man
boys
is a Barcelona fan.
Yeah, I don't know what's going on here.
We're talking about the bloody Gooners.
Yes.
And it was always going to be a big transfer window for Arsenal.
Yeah, a team that in Arteta's reign has spent a lot of money. We said this in our interview with Robbie. Can he continue spending this kind of money and not return trophies? Who knows? Let us know where you stand on that discussion.
Sort of need to preface this with, we haven't even seen some of these players play yet.
True that.
So we could only go off what we know of them.
Yeah,
and how we expect them to perform in the Premier League. But Arsenal's transfer business.
I'll run you through it. Obviously, the one that took all the limelight is Declan Rice signing from West Ham for 105 Great British millions.
One of a few £100 million midfield moves this
Yeah,
season.
I think he was the most expensive midfielder in the world for all of 2 days.
Before Bellingham?
No, before
Caicedo,
yeah. So, yeah, 105 million from West Ham. We also signed, controversially, this is probably the one that got the most hoo-ha in the media, was Kai Havertz for 60 million from Chelsea. One that kind of went under the radar. There's, I think, one of the best transfers. Unfortunately got injured on his debut. Jurrien Timber from Ajax for 40 million. Or I think it was about 35-ish million. And then, to wrap it all up, incoming-wise, we signed David Raya on loan with an obligation to buy from Brentford. So, I think, all in all, and we'll talk about outgoings as well. Actually, let's start with the ingoings. What do you stand on those four? It's four? Yeah, those four incomings.
Rice was obviously a very good pickup. There's a lot of competition for him, and for good reason. I think he's a very, very solid addition to the team. He's one that's going to elevate you to that next level which you're trying to reach.
I think he automatically makes... Oh, we haven't even run you through the tiers. So, the best window, we'll put all the ones we think of like top tier, we'll put them in very solid, and at the end, we'll pick one from the very solid, and we'll give them the best window. So we've got best window at the top, very solid window for all the teams that have done very good, potentially might get into the best window, but they're the best windows. Decent window for everyone that we think is a net positive in the transfer.
Yeah.
Bang average is you've done nothing, you haven't gone forward, you haven't gone backwards. Poor window is... Regression. And then absolute shocker, kind of like the best window, we'll find everyone in the poor window and we'll say one person's had the absolute shockingest shocker.
For me, right now, you can't really put Arsenal in any window but very solid.
I think picking up Declan Rice, who I think, and this isn't my Arsenal tinted goggles, I think is the best midfielder or the best deep midfielder in the world. I think
he's not better than Rodri.
I think I'm starting to come to the conclusion that he's better than Rodri. I've lost my head. I've lost my head already, and we're only 5 minutes into the video. But I think if you're picking up the best, or let's say him and Rodri then, the second best deep midfielder in the world, you're automatically a very solid window. Because that puts you in the conversation with one of the best teams in the world to have that player. And so I think he makes it a very good window. I think Jurrien Timber is very good signing. David Raya, very good signing. They're astute. That is excellent squad depth. Let's ignore the fact that Jurrien Timber's injured. That's excellent squad depth going into the Champions League. And then Kai Havertz, I don't hate it. I don't love it.
It's a risk.
I'm here for a little bit of an Arteta pet project. If he can bring him back from the depths of hell, I'm here for it. But
yeah, for me though, the one thing that immediately rules Arsenal out of having the best window.
Okay, talk to me.
Is you didn't go for a striker.
Yeah.
You had to, for me.
But did we have to though?
You had to.
Did we have to?
That you have options in that left central midfield role.
Do you mean like a different kind of striker? Like a plan
Eddie
B
Nketiah,
striker? Because like
he's not going to get you 20 goals this season.
But are you talking like a plan B striker? Because Gabriel Jesus is always going to be our number one starter.
Yeah, but I think you could have gone for someone who is better than Nketiah.
Yeah, but like,
bro, if you're in a Champions League final and Gabriel Jesus is injured and you're starting Nketiah,
yeah, that's a mess.
You won't even, bro. Your depth isn't there, and you were screaming for it last season.
Yeah,
Nketiah had a few good games, and everyone's going, "Oh yeah, he might be better than Jesus even."
But it's so
then
hard
he fell off again
to get a striker in that is definitely going to be second fiddle, and also isn't going to annoy kind of the situation with Nketiah, because Nketiah has been told that he's going to get game time. And so it's so hard to get another striker in that's going to... Especially now that we signed Havertz, who can also play there.
Yeah, but Havertz is shit.
Oh, yeah, I know. But
that is the problem. Like, we're 4 game weeks in, yeah? And he's shown barely anything.
Yeah.
Like, he missed from, like, 6 yards out.
Yeah.
And for me, even if you sign someone like Iheanacho, bro...
Nah, don't talk to me about that.
I think that he might have been a better...
Nah, don't talk to me about that. That's such a...
Newcastle have better striker depth than you. Between Isak and Callum Wilson. That's
I mean, it's probably pretty close.
I don't know, mate. It's... Yeah.
Yeah, I do agree. I think long-term, we need another option. I think next season, Evan Ferguson
I'm trying to play devil's advocate here, because you've had a very good window.
Let's put them in very solid, but I'm happy to agree that we don't have the best window. Look at me, making... concessions. Right, next, a team that has actually had a really good window, and like Arsenal, have been spending money the last few seasons.
Yeah.
We're talking Aston Villa.
Moussa Diaby,
quality signing.
Fantastic signing.
And he's hit the ground running in the Prem. I think, 2 goals and an assist already?
Yeah, very good player.
Very good.
Pau Torres, Tyrone Mings' injury would lead you to believe that he would be playing a lot.
Yes. Last game, they played a 3 at the back. Ezri Konsa, Diego Carlos in the middle, and Pau Torres.
This is sort of what we wanted to see.
Which I think is good. That, as a 3, is solid. Individually, all of them very solid defenders. And, yeah, I like it.
Yeah.
Who else
They've
they
also
bring
brought
in?
in Clement Longley as sort of cover for that Mings injury.
Yeah, reeks a little bit. I don't really rate
Zaniolo, I like that.
I do like that. I like more Italians in the Prem. I think Zaniolo is a bit of a loose cannon. He broke onto the scene and he was that guy. And then, I don't know, he's kind of lost his head recently. He got kicked out the Roma squad and then went to Galatasaray. Stunk it up there a little bit. And I don't know. Hopefully he uses this move to kind of restart his career, because he's a very talented player.
And Yuri Tielemans as well. Pick up
on a free transfer.
Come on. I don't know. He might be a bit washed.
Yeah, no, he's not washed. I don't know. I think he needs... I don't know what he needs. I think it's a good time. We're talking windows. We're not talking like, will this guy be good? Will this guy be
on
bad?
paper, it's a good... for a free,
it's a free. It's very solid.
For me...
out, they lost Cameron Archer to Sheffield United. They lost Marvellous Nakamba to...
They got 20 million though, for Cameron Archer, who probably is worth it.
Yeah.
But like, he hasn't
no
like Premier League
notable losses, really, that you'd be worried about.
No, nothing at all, really.
So, definitely a net positive. I'd go...
Very solid window.
Very solid window, yeah. Calm. Right. Vincent Kompany's...
Why have we got...
Oh, well, to be fair, these aren't in order. I kind of put them in a rough order. Are we doing Burnley? Yeah, fuck it, let's do Burnley. Or should we do Bournemouth?
Let's just do Bournemouth, mate.
All right.
Right, Bournemouth. They had a very busy transfer window, the beginning of which started with the removal of Gary O'Neill from his job.
Yeah, we weren't impressed, but...
I like what they're doing.
They brought in a progressive manager, and not only did they do that, because it's one thing to do that, but it's another thing to back that progressive manager in the market with transfers that are also progressive, and that's what they've done.
So for me, I mean, we can rattle off their...
Yeah, there's a nice bunch here that are all very solid.
Tyler Adams from Leeds.
Good.
That was pretty late signing.
Yeah.
Traore from Sassuolo, which was one I didn't see coming. They didn't seem to really dip into that market.
No.
They did.
While we're on wingers as well, Louis Sinistera from Leeds.
Sinistera from Leeds,
that was a deadline day transfer, and I was like, Jesus Christ, what a move.
Semenyo went out on loan.
Oh, did he?
So, and Semenyo was actually quite good for them.
Yeah, he had a good... did he go out on loan?
They've also brought in Kluivert from Roma.
Yes, nice.
The one that really sticks out to me, Alex Scott.
What a move. He's injured at the moment, isn't he?
Injured at the minute, but he was
when he gets into that
outrageous
team, yeah.
for Bristol City last season, and he's an absolute baller. He once he gets into that team,
It's going to be a long day.
Yeah, and for me, the only thing they're missing this window was competition for Solanke, I think.
Yeah, yeah, that's true.
And I think a lot of Bournemouth fans have been saying that's sort of the missing piece of the pie. I've been really impressed with their performances under Iraola, and it's going to take time to implement that style of football.
Max Aarons as well, they got him in.
Yeah, Max Aarons is he's
nice
a good
little
player
pickup
as well.
And that is it Kirkesh, who's another wing back. He's good. So yeah, all in all, what they did last season is they stayed up where they probably shouldn't have off of a run from Gary O'Neill, which was kind of way overperforming.
Yes.
And they've kind of clocked that and they thought, yes, we know that's not sustainable. Our squad overperformed massively. Our manager overperformed massively. And so they backed aggressive manager and they know now, oh yes, we need to improve the squad all over. And they've done kind of what Nottingham Forest did the season before.
But
Probably
done it
not to the
smart.
same
Like,
extent.
they haven't gone out and splashed loads of cash on like a few players. They've gone out and they've bought very decent players who they can probably sell on.
Yeah,
in
they've
the
just
future
bought the
and
general
reinvest.
standard of player at Bournemouth, which was arguably last season probably they had across the
Worst team
board
in the league.
worst team in the league, worst squad in the league. They've upped that, and I'd say they're probably bottom half, but top of the bottom half.
They've
in
got a
terms
better
of, like,
team than Wolves.
general standard.
They've got a better team than maybe Forest for me.
Yeah, and so
Definitely got a better team than all the.
it's all about
the
bringing
promoted
that
teams.
standard up if you're a newly promoted team, and then you start cherry picking players once you've got a decent standard. But
But I
Bournemouth
mean,
are still
if I don't know, so if like Cliver or Alex Scott or whoever really pushes on.
oh yeah, they'll sell
and
Alex Scott on for like 60,
60,
70
70 million, yeah, easy. And then
100%.
that gets reinvested in. So it's really smart what they're doing. And for me, they are a very welcome addition to a very solid window.
Yes, everyone's having a very solid window at the moment. Apart from Burnley, who are up next. Are they up
No,
next?
it's not. It's Brentford.
Fucking why are they so far up? Get out, man.
Right, Brentford. So this window was always going to be a little bit different because they had
Ivan Toney.
Toney issue.
Yes.
They were betting on him to be there at the beginning of the season.
And he was betting on them to lose.
So
I'm joking. Shout out Ivan Toney every time.
they lost David Raya, which I'm surprised they were so willing to sort of let him go.
Yeah, because they turned down a 40 mil bid from Spurs. And then later down the window accepted a loan with obligation for 27 mil from
I think
Arsenal.
he had his head turned.
Yeah. I think they turned down like a 35 mil from Bayern as well. So it's yeah,
they
must
bought in Flecken, who's been decent enough.
Yeah.
They bought in Schade from Freiburg as well.
Had a good loan towards the end of last season. And they made that permanent.
And
yeah,
then
he's good.
Nathan Collins from Wolves, who I think is a very good addition to their defensive line.
Yes.
Hasn't changed too much. Their plan this season was always to go with Vissa and Mbeumo up top. And Mbeumo's been on fire.
Oh, mate, do you see that goal on the weekend?
The touch and the turn in one motion. Disgusting. And he's absolutely thriving. And for me, their team is basically the same as it was last season.
Yeah, I think they haven't gone up or down, really.
Yeah, for me, I think it's a bang average window.
Yeah, I agree.
And time will tell. Maybe January
It
when
is what it is, yeah.
someone comes in for Tony, probably.
Exactly, yeah.
But yeah, finally we can get on to your beloved Burnley.
They're not even fucking next. It's Brighton next.
Oh my god!
What? Whoever made this tier list, guess out, mate.
Right, Brighton started off early with the signing of one João Pedro, who scored on his Premier League debut.
Yes.
Then
Good
got
player.
dropped.
Good player. I like him a lot, though.
Got dropped because De Zerbi said I think he needs to learn how to play as part of the team more.
Oh, didn't know that.
But for me, he's a fantastic signing.
He had a really good game against Newcastle. He would like drop in and receive the ball a lot.
Yeah.
And win fouls and get the team up the pitch. I thought he was a really good addition. And I think he's very much in that kind of McAllister role where he kind of he doesn't do anything super shouty, but he'll just glide around the pitch, getting involved around with the play, and then contribute with goals.
They also started early on with a couple of free transfers in James Milner and Dahoud from Borussia Dortmund.
Yeah, both experienced players that have played at high-level teams, Dortmund, Liverpool.
They had James Milner playing right back, didn't they?
And so I
Was it
think
West Ham?
that brings in that experience, doesn't it? Like,
Yeah.
Brighton are in European competition for the first time ever now.
Yeah.
So they need players that have done European competition before. Those heads in the changing room will be invaluable for De Zerbi.
So they signed Baleba from Lille.
He's the centre mid to replace Caicedo, isn't he?
Yeah. 27 million, so not cheap.
No,
and
someone come in and sign him for 100 mil now.
And Verbruggen for 20 million from Anderlecht.
That's the goalkeeper, isn't it?
Yeah. The one name that is sticking out on this list.
Oh yeah, I didn't even see him. Yeah.
Everyone a little bit by surprise.
That's
the
wild.
man with the €1 billion release clause in his contract.
Yeah.
One Ansu Fati, Barcelona's number 10, who absolutely burst onto the scene.
How are Brighton signing the guy that got the number 10 after Messi at Barcelona?
It's mental. It is
What
mental.
the hell is going on?
And he fell off kind of hard.
Yeah.
But
he's had a lot of injuries.
it was a lot of turmoil at Barcelona as well.
and he's been through turmoil.
And Barcelona's academy is always producing gems. They got the guy who's just like 16-year-old called up to Spain.
Yes. Yeah. Lamine or something like that.
Ansu Fati is clearly a baller. Whether or not his injuries have taken a heavy toll on him, time will tell. But for me, it's a very exciting signing, and I love the look of it.
That is very exciting.
And it's just going to be... Yeah, I hope he does well. I like Brighton, and I like Ansu Fati.
I do. I think he'll cook under De Zerbi, and I think,
Brighton don't really get it wrong.
Him in that Matoma role is nice. But we've got to talk about the
losses.
The losses. They've lost Caicedo, 115 million or whatever. So you've lost an absolute world beater, but you've gained 100 million. That is like, for a club like Brighton, that's mad.
You can't turn that down.
And then McAllister for a 40 mil is what it is. He was out the door anyway. He kind of made fine with the piece that he was leaving at the end of his contract. Happy days, or like before his contract ran out.
The one that like shook me the most, or shocked me, didn't really shake me. I wasn't that like.
Don't
get that much. But yeah, Robert Sanchez to Chelsea.
They're already getting on him. Chelsea fans, they think he's shit.
Yeah. He was really good for Brighton.
Yeah.
But clearly they were just like...
Doesn't fit our style of play,
Yeah, or whatever. And much like Brentford, they've sort of replaced him, and it's no different, really, you know.
What are we thinking? Decent window? They've lost decent players.
The problem is, when Brighton lose players, the players tend to go on to different clubs and be pretty shit.
Yeah.
And Caicedo's not really had the best time at Chelsea.
He has had, like, a calamity of the first few games. Like,
Cucurella's
giving away the pen in the first game, and then I think he gave away a chance that led to a goal in the second game. He's having a bit of a mare.
It's like Cucurella is already getting talked about being loaned to Man United.
Yeah.
The only player that's left Brighton who seems to be doing well is McAllister's done well at Liverpool so far.
I'm going decent window.
And Basuma at Brighton now, at Tottenham. But yeah, decent window for me. I don't think they have. Have they improved? Or maybe it's a bang average window.
Ooh.
Are they worse than they were last season? Ansu Fati, man. Nah, man,
I was going to say that you got Ansu Fati. Yeah,
if you lose Caicedo and get Ansu Fati, that's not bad.
I'll back it. Right, Burnley. Newly promoted Burnley. They had to do some moves because a lot of their players were on loans and stuff. So they had to do some big moves in the window.
For me, the big signing is James Trafford.
I like James Trafford. I like Sander Berger as a signing.
Sander Berger, yeah.
I like Aaron Ramsey as a signing.
Yeah, he's not
and
bad,
you know who I've really liked? Luca Koleosho.
Oh, Koleosho, yeah.
I know Burnley haven't got a win so far this season, but against Man City, he looked electric. Who did they play most recently? He looked quite good. Yeah, I really like the look of Koleosho. So, yeah, I can't say I'm massively clued up on what they're doing, but...
Are they better than they were last season as a squad? Well, yeah, because they've spent Premier League money.
Yeah, I'll back it.
But for me, it's a decent window.
Yeah, I think decent.
They have improved.
I think they've picked up some players that, give them a couple of seasons, they could sell on. Aaron Ramsey, Koleosho, Sander Berger,
James Trafford.
A lot of young players that could go on to the next level.
But yeah, no, I agree with you. There's not really much to talk about here. They loaned out a few players. Scott Twine's one. He's gone on loan to Hull. Didn't really get...
Huh? Well,
Weghorst. They signed Nathan Redmond.
Yeah.
Yep. But for me... Oh, yeah, Michael Obafemi from Swansea.
Yeah.
He's a fairly decent striker. They've got a team there.
Yeah.
It's just... We spoke about this in our predictions. Like, how are they going to come into the league and try and play their football, which they're trying to do. But maybe it's just a situation where you say... we might not be able to compete playing this way. just solidify yourself, stay in the Prem, and then build on that next season. Do
Yeah.
you know what I mean?
100%.
But for me, yeah, for me, it's a decent window. I don't think they've done anything wrong,
Right.
and I think they've improved their team.
Should we talk about the ugliest team in the Premier League that are ruining football as we know it?
I'm just gonna rattle through some names and some prices. Ready?
Fucking, I don't even like looking.
Talking about Chelsea.
Yeah.
Moises Caicedo, 116 million. Romeo Lavia, 62.1 million. Nkunku, who they had an obligation to buy for 60 million. Cole Palmer.
What the fuck is the Cole Palmer signing?
47 million
My
euros.
guy's probably. I think Cole Palmer's quality, but how are they thinking that's like a sensible move?
Decisive from Monaco.
Yeah.
That was 45 million.
Yeah.
Nicholas Jackson from Villarreal, 37 million. Ugo Chukwu from Stade Rennais, 27 million. Roberto Sanchez from Brighton, 23 million. David Washington from Santos, 16 million.
David.
Petrovic, 16 million.
Yeah.
Angelo, 15 million. What is going on?
It's a joke. I hate everything about Chelsea. I hate what they're doing in the transfer market. I think they know that they're going to get a transfer ban or something, so they're just stockpiling 18 to 22-year-olds that will grow into that team, put them on an 8-year contract, lock them down, Guantanamo Bay style, mate.
These figures are all in euros. Outgoings. 75 million for Kai Havertz to Arsenal, Mason Mount to Man United, 64 million, Kovacic to City, 29 million, Koulibaly to Al Hilal, 23 million, Pulisic to Milan, 20 million, Mendy to Al Ali to 18 million, Ruben Loftus-Cheek to AC Milan, who's tearing up in the Serie A at the minute.
They've got a decent amount of outgoings.
Yeah, they've got 5 million loan fee for Romeo Lukaku.
No way can they be allowed to spend $1 billion in 3 windows.
Amortization loophole has ruined the transfer window for everyone, and Todd Bowley, you're a scumbag.
And we were talking about this off camera. I looked at their bench against Nottingham Forest. Their bench is fucking crap. How can you spend $1 billion? And I look at that bench and think, no one in that team I'd bring on to change the game.
I just don't know. Like, they've spent a lot of money, and I don't even know if they're any better.
The most I could give them is decent window because they got Caicedo.
Yeah, I'm not even mad at Cole Palmer, 47 million.
I'm not inspired by it. Like,
he's a really good player, but he hasn't done it enough.
Yeah, he hasn't done enough.
And he's doing it in a team where he's going to get chances.
In a world where Nkunku, who's done like 3 seasons of double-digit goals, double-digit assists, is 60 million, and you're paying 50 million for Cole Palmer. Like, what's going on?
I mean,
and you're giving out 50 million to Man
Spurs
City. What are you doing?
40 million. Spurs spent 40 million and got James Maddison.
Exactly. How's Cole Palmer going for more than James Maddison?
I don't know.
Yeah,
I liked the sign Nicholas Jackson.
I might even give them bang average.
I
think
think
fucking
Nicholas Jackson is a good signing.
Yeah,
but I
like him.
Underperforming.
He's a little bit of a bozo.
He's
though.
underperforming a lot.
Yeah,
like he should have about 4 or 5 goals in the Premier League.
He's one of those players. He's really good. Kind of like Lukaku, but it looks like they're playing in like Timberlands.
Yeah, maybe.
Like every time he kicks a ball, he's like, ping! Like, you see the one where he's like the 6-yard box, open goal. And he's like, pow!
Over the bar.
Yeah, I was like, bruv, what is going on here?
Yeah, I don't know. For me, yeah, I agree. Bang average.
They're scumbags.
Right, Crystal Palace. This was always going to be a bit of a sad window for Palace because they had people sniffing around Mikel Olise.
Zaha's out the door as well.
And Zaha was destined to leave for pastures new in terms of Galatasaray. Champions League football, though. Playing against Man United in the group stages.
Yeah.
It's interesting. But yeah, they signed Franca from Flamengo, who's meant to be like attacking
Winger
Brazilian
situation,
Donny.
yeah.
Can't say I've ever seen him play.
Nope.
But who knows? Could be a good signing. Dean Henderson from Man United.
That's a good little move. Because in goalkeeper, I don't know why they've got such good goalkeeper depth, but Sam Johnson and Dean Henderson, that's good.
That's really good depth. I don't even mind Rob Holding for
I
1.2
really like
million euros.
the Rob Holding signing.
You've got a experience. He's not a top class defender by any means.
No,
but he will do such a good job for Palace, and he's not going to come in and be intrusive. I think he'll play second fiddle to Anderson and Gahey.
He did exactly that. It'll be so good for the changing room. You've got like kind of winning mentality from Arsenal, not like super winning, but
yeah.
Arsenal. He's
an all-round
head.
good guy.
He'll come in. He'll like take the spot if anyone's injured. And he is a quality player. He just a team that's pushing for the league. that demands a lot of you on the ball, he's probably a bit out of his depth. But a team that defends low, get your head on corners, mate, he's your guy.
They also got Jefferson Lerma from Bournemouth on a free, which I don't mind as well. It's depth in the middle of the park.
Yeah.
Something that they were sort of lacking. They clearly this season made Eze their main man, and he's paying dividends. He's playing really well.
What a guy.
He's such a baller. The big question was who's going to replace Zaha. They're playing with like Jordan Ayew and like Edouard and
Jordan Ayew. He's actually started the season really well.
Yeah, Edouard's
you can't keep
Mateta
going.
as well. He's a
Jordan
bit
Ayew.
of a unit. Mateta, like
Yeah.
I think he scored a hat trick in the Carabao Cup.
I think keeping Elise, doing an absolute number on Chelsea. Chelsea was so certain they signed Elise, and then for him to announce a new contract, I love that. I'm going to give him a decent window just for that.
It's got to be bang average.
No, I'm giving him a decent window.
They lost Zaha and they haven't replaced him.
We haven't seen Mateus Frankie yet though.
But he's not going to be as good as Zaha, and they need to get in probably a striker. And for me, maybe like someone to take over from Tyreek Mitchell, who I don't really rate too much.
No, I think you're being harsh. I think they've had a good window.
Depth at right back.
I think they've had a good window. It's Crystal Palace. You can't expect them to spend like 100 million.
You think it's a decent window?
I do. I think if they lost Elise, you're in trouble. That's regression.
Okay, fine. I can agree. And they kept Eze as well.
Yes, exactly.
Apparently, Man City launched a £70 million bid for him on deadline day.
Yeah, and that's what I think Spurs at one point were interested in him.
Could have done with that money at QPR.
Everton.
20%.
Oh, do you?
20% of the total sale.
Nice.
Which is mad. Everton. I like this under Beto. Don't mind Danjuma.
Yeah.
Aaron Ashley Young on a free is all right. His experience is someone who played with Sean Dyche.
Jack Harrison's all right.
No Sean Dyche.
Apart
from that,
they've lost Iwobi. I'm not inspired by this window at all.
Yeah, they lost Iwobi. For me, I don't know.
Bang average.
No, I think it's a poor window.
Yeah,
I think it's a poor window. They didn't do what they had to do.
And we'll talk about the team that Iwobi went to next in Fulham.
Fulham. The big news was Al Hilal coming in for Mitro, and who was it coming in for?
He scored on his debut. Fucking banger as well.
Who was the team coming in for Marco Silva? One of them. Was it Etifaki before they got Gerrard?
Oh, maybe. I don't know. But yeah, that was the talking point, wasn't it? They were going to lose their star striker and their manager.
Yeah, I just like...
They did well to keep at least one of them.
Well, and they kept Paulinho.
Yes. Paulinho, we didn't mention. Bayern Munich came in for him. I think he wanted to go.
Well, he wanted to go from Fulham to Bayern Munich.
But they couldn't get a replacement in time, so he has not gone.
So maybe that might be a January move waiting to happen, or... He might just not play because his head's been turned. Yeah, maybe. You never know. It happens.
Doesn't seem like the type, but
it happens though. They signed Alex Iwobi for 25 million.
I think that's a nice little move. Calvin Bassey.
I don't really rate him.
We went to see him play for Ajax. We saw one game and he was so bad. And since then, Luke's opinion of him has been absolutely tinted.
He got sent off the other week, didn't he?
Did he?
Yeah, I think so.
Oh,
he got sent off against Arsenal.
Did he? Oh, he did. He got like a
double yellow.
Yeah, he got done on the halfway line.
Yeah. I don't really rate him. I think he's a mate. He's not a bozo defender, but he might be on route.
I think what a nice little signing though is Adama Traore on a free transfer.
Yeah, he looks good. He's dangerous, isn't he?
Adama is one of those players. Like, I think the general consensus is that his final product is shit. Like in general, he is shit, but he just causes so much havoc when he's on the ball. Like, there is no one more scary on the ball than him in the league. When he's running at you full pelt, defenders shit themselves. But all you got to do is show him
down the wing,
and he won't do anything. But I think he's a good little move
as well. I think he was like, he's always been decent for Leicester.
Yeah, I like Castagna.
And that's depth. And then Raul Jimenez from Wolves, who's actually been fairly decent this season. He's
his head's gone though, isn't it? Really, bless him.
That's one way of putting it.
But I think,
for me,
losing Mitro's a problem.
It is a problem. Have they got better?
Yeah, I don't think we could say very solid.
I don't think... has Iwobi, Bassey, Castagna, Jimenez, or Traore made them better?
I'd say decent window.
Traore, maybe. But for me, losing Mitro is a poor window.
Poor window?
I think so.
Not even bang average?
think it's a poor window.
Oh dear.
They had a really good season last season,
Yeah.
and I don't think I don't think that this team beats last season's team.
Yeah, that's true. Mitro is that guy.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay, Liverpool, who ended the window in style, signing Ryan Gravenberch from Bayern Munich for 40 million.
Who really didn't play for Bayern Munich after
No,
having
he was
a really good season at Ajax.
Yeah, he was the next big thing and signed for Bayern and kind of didn't get into the team.
Wataru Endo sort of was there to mediate their lack of defence midfielding.
Yeah, they lost
problem.
Fabinho and Jordan Henderson to Saudi Arabia, so they had to kind of.
They still might lose Salah.
Yeah, this is all before the end.
We'll talk about the rest of the stuff first, and we'll have a little discussion about Salah and Saudi.
Shout. Right, Szoboszlai, 70 million.
Love it.
Yeah, it's a really good signing. Alexis McAllister, 40 million.
Love it.
Yeah, very kind of Prem-proven, understated player that will just walk into that team. Got Ricardo on his debut. Wasn't ideal, but we move. And then, out the door, we said Fabinho to Saudi Arabia, Jordan Henderson to Saudi Arabia, Alex Oxlade-Chamberlain to Turkey, Naby Keita to Germany, James Milner in the Prem still at Brighton. Bobby Firms went to Saudi Arabia as well.
That's a big loss, but they knew it was coming. And it's not like
Fabio Carvalho, which I thought was an interesting one.
He's at Leipzig now, which is but that's only on loan. So for me,
right now it's a good window.
Right now it's a very good window.
But let's talk about the looming fear that is Saudi Arabia.
So there are being reports that Saudi are preparing one more bid.
So they had a 151 turned down.
I think it's either 200 or maybe 250 million.
But I think the next one is in the 200 ballpark. And at that stage, in my opinion, how the fuck do you turn that down?
If they had come in with that 4 weeks ago...
Yeah, it's sticky that it's at the end.
If it had come in that 4 weeks ago, I think Liverpool go, he is fantastic. But what is he, 30...
31.
31, 200 million or whatever. You could go out and probably sign Mbappe for that.
Yeah, that's all. So I saw Paul Merson was like, they can go get Saka. I was like, get your dirty hands off my boy.
It's not going to happen.
But I think Mbappe could happen. If they get 200 or 200 plus million.
Yeah. I mean, you could go out and sign anyone in the world for that money. Like, really.
You get Kvaratskhelia, Leao. There's players out there. You get the biggest, baddest player on the planet for that much money.
The problem is, Salah is the best right winger in world football.
Apart from Bukayo, yeah.
He's better than Bukayo Saka.
I don't know about that. But, it's hard to kind of quantify because he is, as much as Liverpool's attack is stacked, Salah is that guy.
Yeah.
He's the one that
the one that you fear.
Player looks at and thinks, that's a long day for me.
Yeah, he's so good. For me, I think even if Saudi come in now with 200 million...
You got to say no, don't you?
I think Liverpool don't take it.
But we're not doing if buts and maybes.
For me, Liverpool...
Right now, it's a very solid window.
Yes, I agree. Right. Little old Luton Town. Don't want to be disrespectful, but it's not been a great start to the season.
No, it hasn't.
But we spoke about their sort of transfer strategy in our predictions and how maybe they're not expecting to stay in the Prem.
It's invest wisely in young up-and-coming talent.
Bounce back. Either sell that talent on and make a profit. You're going to get a parachute payment money.
Or come back.
You're going to be able to invest that. And then you've got players who you bought while you're in the Prem who are probably looking to stick around.
Let's talk about these young and hungry players. Ryan Giles is a very nice move.
Nice move.
Tahith Chong, quality player. Mads Anderson.
Yep.
Got a goal the other day. Marvellous Nakamba, I like. Ross Barkley's an interesting one, isn't it?
Apparently he didn't really look too bothered.
At
the end of the West Ham game.
I feel like he's always been that guy. He comes across as like a bit of a wanker. Yeah. But I don't know. It's a good move because he's definitely like Prem quality. But is he enough to drag Luton out of a relegation battle? Definitely not.
Albert Sambi Lokonga on Arsenal, who spent last season at Palace.
Yeah, I think it'll be an interesting move for him and for them.
I like Issa Kabore.
Do you?
He had a really good season in France last year, and I think he could be a good option out wide for them. But for me, it's like I think it's a bang average window.
Yeah, it's not inspiring.
We weren't expecting them to come and splash heavy cash.
Yeah,
they haven't really got the pulling power of even Sheffield United or Burnley. But
facts, yeah, they are a little bit like a tiny little fish in a massive pond.
I feel for them, but I don't think it's outrageous to say they are probably the worst team to be promoted to the Premier League, probably since that Derby County team.
Worst team is highly disrespectful. I'm going to go smallest team.
Yeah, but on paper it is the worst team.
It stinks, yeah. But bang average window. I don't think they're at a net loss really coming into this season.
Literally, just like they didn't really lose too many players. Just a few loans that finished.
Right. Other end of the scale, from teams that can barely fill a stadium, or I don't know, have like 5,000 capacity stadium, to a team that is
expanding the stadium
to 65,000, just won the treble, biggest team in the world.
I want to talk about their outgoings first.
Yeah, I like that.
Riyad Mahrez to Al Ali, which I think is a massive loss.
Yeah, I'm going to miss Riyad Mahrez, mate.
Yeah.
Tech personified.
Aymeric Laporte as well to Al Nassr. He's suddenly gone and he's just
kind of
head and shoulders above every centre back in that league.
He's just kind of like combusted his career, hasn't he? He's like, oh yeah, well you might as well, because you've won everything at Man City. You just fucking go.
Ilkay Gundogan to Barcelona.
Big loss.
Massive loss. Massive loss. But
in the door.
Vardio.
90 million pounds.
He's worth it though.
Yeah, he's good.
He's outrageous. Nunez from Wolves, who Pep Guardiola seems to have a bit of a love affair for.
He said when he came into the Prem that he was one of the best players in the world, and the moment he said that, I was like, Pep is going to sign him. But I was watched his tenure at Wolves. I think he was there for 2 seasons.
He's a really good carrier.
He carries the ball well, but there's nothing super inspiring. I was kind of watching him thinking, Pep gassed him up, but isn't going to sign him now because he's not that good. But then he went and signed him, and maybe Pep will make him this kind of god tier midfielder. But I'm not inspired by that as a transfer after losing Gundogan.
No. Jeremy Doku from Stade Rennais.
It's all right, but again, after losing Mahrez, I'm not inspired by that.
Who would you rather have on your team? But it's like they're bringing in these sort of
young
project players instead of. Mateo Kovacic, I actually quite like that.
Yeah, that's all right.
I think that's decent. It's good depth.
Yeah,
I think he does a job.
Very cheap as well for a player as good as him.
Yeah. But that's it. But for me, that's a very solid window.
I'm going decent. I think they've lost too many good players. I know that these players are 30 plus, but you can't lose your club captain and one of your best wingers.
I think we might come back to this in 6 months' time and say, yeah, Guardiola is by far the best defender in the Premier League.
Yeah.
Blah, blah, blah. Mateus Nunes was a signing. Pep's so special.
Yeah.
Fine.
The Mateus Nunes just reeks of like Calvin Phillips.
I don't know.
Like, what's happening with my guy Calvin Phillips?
Yeah, he's washed, mate.
Because I like him, but his career is just taking a nosedive.
From one side of Manchester to the other, we are talking about the Red Devils themselves, who have had a hell of a transfer window.
Let's start with the outgoings again, because the outgoings aren't exciting as well, so we can speed through this in 20 seconds. Dean Henderson to Palace, Elanga to Nottingham Forest were the only 2 they made decent money for.
They lost De Gea.
De Gea's gone on a free. He's actually currently clubless, which is quite crazy, isn't it?
I thought Real Madrid were going to go in for him, but then
or
they
just
signed
like a Saudi
Kepa,
club.
didn't they? Yeah. Fred to Fenerbahce. Alex Telles to Al Nassr.
Yeah.
They lost Eric Bailly. He just went on a free transfer.
Yeah, nothing's fine.
And then
they've loaned out Mason Greenwood, which is fucking scumbaggery if I've ever seen it.
Incomings.
Rasmus Højlund, the striker that everyone has said Man United have been looking for seasons now. They've been signing strikers that are like past their prime. Zlatan, Falcao,
Diego Forlan,
Odion Ighalo. So
Wout
Weghorst. So to finally get a young, hungry striker to compete with the other side of Manchester and Haaland, I think it's exciting. His debut against Arsenal looked good. So I think that's a good move. Maybe a little bit on the expensive side for someone that I think only got like 7 goals last season. But decent. Mason Mount, 60 million from rivals. To take away one of their star boys, I think is good. Mason Mount's had a couple of stinky seasons now. Since that Champions League winning season, he hasn't really kicked on. But there is 100% a player in there.
So for me, I'm looking at this, and I'm like, right, they needed a striker. They went and got Hodgson. It's a risk because he only made, 17 appearances or something last season for Atalanta. But clearly, people see something there. It's a lot of money, though, if it doesn't work out. But they needed a striker, so I think that's a net positive there.
100.
Mason Mount, I think it wasn't necessary. I think they should have used that money and the Hodgson money to go get Harry Kane. For me, that would have given them a very solid window off the bat.
I think that might even be the best window.
Andre Onana, who I've not been impressed with so far.
No, but they were clamouring out
important
for a ball-playing
goalkeeper. And I think
goalkeeper.
for 50 million euros, it's not a bad signing.
No.
And I like Sofian Amrabat on loan from Fiorentina with an
I
obligation to buy. I think that's a very good
move.
move.
Sergio Reguilon from Tottenham as well on loan.
That is purely because they're panicking without having...
Yeah, I think Reguilon stinks. His girlfriend's quite good looking though.
But for me, this is such a time will tell window. But I'm looking at it on paper.
Johnny Evans, we forgot to mention he's back at the club.
It's a very solid window for me.
Yeah, I agree. I don't think their outgoings are that bad. I don't think there's a net negative. I think it's, what would you say, very solid?
Yeah, I think for me, it's for what they needed. They got players. They got a striker in. They got more depth in the midfield, and they've got
Agreed.
A keeper who could play out from the back.
I'd like a few more better transfers. Like, let's say instead of Johnny Evans, you bring in like a decent tier reserve centre back, or instead of Reguilon, you bring in a decent tier left back.
I mean, we're seeing it now. Like Varane's injured.
Like how they
so they're playing Lindelof.
Yeah, how they playing that Arsenal game and ending with Harry Maguire and Johnny Evans. Like,
yeah, that's the problem. But for me, it's a very solid window. I think they've been unlucky this season so far with injuries. Yeah. No Luke Shaw. We spoke about this on our previous podcast. Go check it out. But yeah, for me, they've got players to do what they need to do. It's just a time will tell situation. It could stink.
Yeah,
we don't have enough.
Up next is a team that I forgot about. When I was thinking, who am I going to have as the best window? I didn't even think about this team, but looking at their transfers, I'm very impressed. We're talking Newcastle, who have obviously got Saudi money now, so we've got to add that into the factor. They haven't been splashing the Saudi cash like when Man City first arrived with Saudi money. They came in straight Robinho, straight Aguero, David Silva. They were going crazy immediately. Newcastle have done it with a bit more grace, slow and steady. But one transfer that blew the I don't know, roof off the city was when they signed Sandro Tonali from AC Milan, a player that you'd never in a million years picture leaving his boyhood club for pastures new.
Like Italy under 21 captain or whatever. Just he was like, yeah, you would have thought he would
debut of absolute dreams.
Yeah,
he was really good, and so yeah, for 60-ish mil, I think that's an outrageous signing. I think he will grow to be an outrageous midfielder alongside Bruno Guimaraes. I think that's a top quality. Top quality.
Harvey Barnes.
A player that I've been waiting to make a big move.
I like him a lot.
I think he is so good, so efficient in and around the goal.
A player who's actually impressed me from a window previous is Anthony Gordon.
Yeah.
Who I thought was washed after last season.
We were on his Clark last season.
But he's actually been very good this season.
He had a really good under 21 Euros and then started this season very good. And yeah, I was watching the Newcastle game, even though they lost against Brighton. I was watching. I was going to text you and be like, we might have gone a little bit too hard on Anthony Gordon. Yeah, he's good.
Yeah.
Tino Livramento?
Yeah, that's not a bad signing.
It isn't it? It's good depth. Now they've got good depth both sides, which will include Lewis Hall in this. So they got Trippier and, let's say, Dan Burn.
Lewis Hall's really highest rated.
And then they got Lewis Hall as cover that side.
Really highly rated.
Livramento cover on Trippier's side. So
only real notable outgoing is Alan Saint-Maximin.
Yes.
But he was pretty much injured all of last season.
Yes,
he was a very good player.
He's one of those players that he just doesn't fit the Eddie Howe kind of style going forward.
No.
Where it's more of a team. He's just a bit of a showman, and he'll have a great time out in Saudi Arabia.
For me, you bought in Harvey Barnes, you bought in Tonali, you bought in Lewis Hall and Livramento. It's a very solid window.
It's very solid, isn't it? Yeah.
Right. Nottingham Forest. Another window. Another load of transfers. Sangare.
That's a lot, isn't it? That's a very good move.
Very good move. And I like what they're doing. And I put them in my relegation zone. And after their performances so far this season, they're the one team I would move.
Yeah.
I'd move them far up the table. But Anthony Elanga as well. He's just scored on his against Chelsea, 1-0 win.
Yeah, I think he's a nice
Did
move.
he score against Arsenal as well?
Nah,
Did
he
set up the
assisted
goal? Yeah,
Taiwanese.
Taiwanese, what a player as well.
Yeah.
I
I think we've got to talk about Brennan Johnson going out. That's a big loss. But 55 million, I think, and you brought in Callum Hudson-Odoi and Elanga.
Yeah,
I
so
think
for
what you lose in
combined,
that,
that's like 20 million euros.
So I think what you lose by losing Brennan Johnson, arguably in terms of ceilings and potentials, Elanga and Callum Hudson-Odoi are in a similar vein to Brennan Johnson. I wouldn't say Brennan Johnson is so much better than either of those two. Yes, Callum Hudson-Odoi has gone off the boil majorly, but if he comes back into form, he's probably, in my opinion, got the high ceiling of all three of them.
Yeah.
And so, yes, you've lost Brennan Johnson, who was a stalwart in your promotion push and last season, but I think
got a good money
maybe
for
a net
him.
Positive.
And you've got depth there as well, which is what they're going to need. They brought in Chris Wood from Newcastle, which was a bit of a strange one for me.
Yeah, it's a weird one.
Didn't really understand that. Omar Badidele from Norwich, he's a really good young centre-back.
Going to shout out Matt Turner, who I think is a good signing. He's had a couple of very good games, Matt Turner.
Yeah,
not
been bad at all.
I think
Ola Aina as well is a good
addition,
bit of that's depth as well.
Yeah, free
Divock
transfer.
Origi.
Shout out Divock.
Oh, I love Divock Origi.
Back in the Prem.
Such a big game player.
What a guy.
But yeah, he could prove to be a really
Champions League final goal scoring Divock Origi.
Yeah,
playing for Nottingham Forest.
I think
what the hell?
He's a great player, and like you say, they haven't really lost too many players.
No, I don't hate it.
Jack Colback, Steve Cook's QPR.
We're going to give it a decent window.
I think it's a it's a decent window. It's not very solid.
Yeah,
it's
we
decent.
keep bushing people and very solid, didn't we?
Yeah.
Right. Let's speed through the next few.
Sheffield United, Cameron Archer, Gustav Heimer.
Yeah, I think that's decent. Those two on their own, because there was a period where they just lost and die,
and then Sanderberg
and lost Sanderberg, and we were like, "Fuck me, they're in trouble here."
I think they've been pretty.
I think Cameron Archer and Gustavo Heimer make it kind of like a level.
It's almost net neutral.
Yeah, net neutral.
But I think Iliman Ndiaye is. I don't know, actually.
It's hard.
Iliman Ndiaye is really good, but we didn't ever see him do it in the Prem.
Yeah.
Callum Archer's got 2 goals in his first start for them. Oh, it was an own goal.
So we're saying...
But for me, I think it's a bang average window.
Yeah, net. Oh, net
they haven't done enough for me.
It's net neutral.
They haven't done enough for me to keep themselves in the Premier League.
Right. Potentially, best window.
Right.
Spurs.
Brennan Johnson, 55 million. I'm not sure about it.
It's expensive.
It's a lot of money.
But
they probably could have got Harvey Barnes.
I like it because Kulusevski, when he broke in, was quality, but he has gone off the boil a little bit. Kulusevski.
It's a different type of player to Kulusevski as well.
And I think he offers good competition to Kulusevski and a different play style. And I think in this kind of Ange ball where it's very high press, very aggressive, Brennan Johnson might even be a better option than Kulusevski. So. I like the Brendan Johnson move. Yeah, slightly expensive. James Maddison. Holy shit, mate. 40 million for what I'm thinking is like an 80 million pound player in this market.
Well, if you're thinking, so Eze was bid for 70 million.
Yeah.
James Maddison's easily worth 70 million.
Yeah, exactly. So to get him for 40 mil and for him to hit the ground running as he has already, I think it's like 3 goals, 3 assists or whatever. So good. I think that automatically getting him makes it a very solid window. And then you add on, I don't know, they've got a new goalkeeper
Van der Ven's been good.
Van der Ven's been good.
They signed Pedro Porro on a perm.
Solomon's been good.
Vicario's been a bit... He hasn't filled me with confidence yet.
But Harry Kane has left Tottenham. Did you ever think we'd sit here and say that?
No.
I didn't.
But I think they have...
Net positive.
For the minute, they are better without him.
Yeah.
But he got them out of a lot of situations,
and
he didn't play in this team, so it's hard to compare. But for the minute,
should we give them very solid?
No, they're definitely very solid.
But could they ever be best? Can you ever have the best window and lose Harry Kane? Surely those two don't go together.
They got a doggy man.
A doggy man.
Doggy man. He was on loan at Udinese last season, wasn't he? But they got rid of Harry Winks as well, which I think that buffs it up anyway. Yeah. I like it. We'll
put them in very solid. Similar discussion with can Spurs
lost their main man in Harry Kane.
Yeah. Can they ever have like a net positive
If you
Well,
lose
losing Harry Kane. Similar with West Ham. Can they ever have a net positive and lose Declan Rice?
And it got to a point in the transfer window where West Ham had lost Declan Rice and signed no one.
They'd been shagged by Ajax for what was that guy that was from the Man City academy called? Carlo Borges.
Oh yeah.
So they were in for him and then got pied, and everyone was like, there was calamity.
But then they went and they signed James Ward-Prowse, who I think is outrageous. Yeah, good player. He just brings you points per season.
I think 3 assists already.
What a stat is that? Points per season. What a metric.
Yeah.
He will win you so many games.
Points per season. Yeah.
He will just win you games because he is so good on set pieces, and he's a really good midfielder.
Yeah.
And he's not just a set piece merchant. Mohamed Kudus, I think, is a really exciting signing.
That is so exciting. He should, no disrespect to West Ham, he should be a bigger club than West Ham.
And Eden Alvarez, who I was quite unsure of.
I think he's slightly overrated.
I don't think he's not a top DM.
No.
But he does a job. And I think
Him alongside Ward-Prowse, that's good.
Yeah, and Paqueta in front of them.
Nice.
I like this a lot.
And then Mavropanos as well, who was actually really good at Arsenal, had really good time in the Bundesliga.
Mm-hmm.
I think he is good depth in the defensive department.
I think they've reinvested that Declan Rice money very well.
Yeah, I agree. Very solid window.
Very solid window.
Jesus Christ, we've got 8 teams in there at the moment.
Right.
And we won't put Wolves in there because they definitely didn't have a very solid window. We've spoken about them. They splashed 50 million on Cunha, who I like, but is not a £50 million player. And then the rest, I actually have no idea about.
Yeah. Bueno on a perm. They got Matt Doherty back from Atletico. They got Tommy Doyle on a loan from City again.
Let me read you out these outgoings. So they've lost Mateus Nunes, Ruben Neves, Nathan Collins, Connor Cody, Raul Jimenez, and João Moutinho.
And Ryan Giles.
But who cares?
And
they've lost they've lost all these players. They're a net negative.
For me, it's definitely a poor window, and I think it might be an absolute shocker.
Yeah, I was going to say, who is our absolute shocker and who is our best window? Let's start with absolute shocker. Should we give it to Wolves?
For me, it's out of Wolves and Everton, but Everton's window was bad though.
Yeah, I do.
But I like Beto though.
Do we prefer Beto over Cunha? Price-wise.
Oh God, it's hard. It's difficult, but
let us know who you'd have as worst window. We're going to go with. I think it's got to be Wolves.
It's got to be Wolves, yeah.
They've had so many big outgoings.
Yeah, Wolves. Everton lost Iwobi, and that was basically it.
Yeah.
But yeah.
Whereas like that Wolves have lost pretty much an entire team of first teamers from a couple of seasons ago.
So does anyone in that bang average tier deserve to go down to poor window? Because I'm thinking, Sheffield United, they needed to do something.
Yeah.
Their team wasn't good enough to stay up.
Yeah.
Right? And they've basically traded Ilian and Dive, but spent more for Cameron Archer, and then spent more for trading Sanderberg for Gustavo Hema. And I don't think either of those are necessarily an upgrade. Yeah. I'd say, if anything, maybe Ndiaye was the best out of all 4 of those players. And have they spent enough or wisely enough to stay up in the Premier League? And I don't think they have. I think it's a poor window.
Yeah, I agree. Okay, and now we're picking our best window of the summer out of Arsenal, Aston Villa, Bournemouth, Liverpool, Man United, Newcastle, Spurs, and West Ham.
For me, Tottenham are in the conversation.
Yeah, should we move people down that aren't in? No, actually, no.
No. So Tottenham. Let's move Tottenham into the top. Newcastle, Tonali, Harvey Barnes, and
I like Newcastle in the conversation.
And Livramento without really losing anyone apart from.
I don't think Aston Villa are in the conversation.
Arsenal probably are in the conversation.
I'd put Arsenal. I'd say
Bournemouth haven't had the best window, but they've had a good window for them.
Yeah, let's move them out.
But it's not the best window.
Liverpool,
I think they lost. They haven't really secured a DM yet, have they? Really?
No.
I don't think Gravenberch's going to be that, or Taru Endu, and I think they could have done with one or two.
I don't think Man United either. I think it's Spurs, Newcastle, Arsenal, or West Ham. And I don't think it's Arsenal.
I think it might be Spurs or West Ham.
And I don't think it's West Ham. I think it's Newcastle.
I think it's Spurs.
Okay, we're going to move both of these up, Newcastle and Spurs. And we're going to put a poll out to everybody that's watching at home. Let us know, out of Spurs and West Ham, who had the best window. Or if you don't agree, out of them two, add your own. But it's one of those two because we've decided.
Let us know down below if we've had any howlers or any fantastic picks. And as always, remember to hit that like button, comment, and subscribe. And also get involved in our signed Gabriel Martinelli shirt giveaway, because that is, we've got time over the international break. Arsenal come back. They've got Everton. Got a very good chance of getting a goal in that game.
If he doesn't bag against Everton, he's bagging against Spurs.
Yeah, so remember, you just got to go over to our Twitter, follow us and AFTV Media on Twitter, retweet the tweet, and make sure you subscribe to us on YouTube to give yourself a chance of winning. And we've had a fair amount of entries, but not so many that you haven't got a good chance. So yeah,
keep getting involved.
And yeah, maybe get your mate involved, get your nan involved. Your nan like Arsenal? Don't even have to like Arsenal.
Spin.
It's all about it. But yeah, guys, thank you very much for watching. It's been BoreDraw, and it's live.
Thank you very much.